he was doing something collaborative, he'll go in, do the studio and do it. If it was for his music, same thing. He wasn't doing the Tupac that was like recording in days and days out.
No,
like,
all the songs that he did came out. But
you gotta remember Puns, he had a lot of health issues, so he wasn't trying to be in the studio longer than what he had to be.
But what I'm saying is that we do have songs that was recorded,
right, and
we just didn't use them.
Right.
It might be a song that he...
I mean, kind of, because he will be there punching in and doing... So there might be a few little...
And there's those, and there's also like he might just have like around one time and freestyle the verses playing around while he's a bit 12 bars, and someone has that session where
but
you know that the clips...
nothing for me to put out like something...
You know what made me like him too? When he spoke and they asked him who was his biggest influence, he said Cool G Rap. And I was like, yo, he paid homage. And that was so instrumental in hip hop to me, period. He said, yo, I rhyme like G Rap.
Yeah.
And I was like,
his favorites was Daddy King, G Rap, and Rakim. Those are three.
Hey,
that's a solid.
That's a start. I take that start. I take that starting three.
That was the first three people who introduced me in '87. Because remember, I told you I was in Pentecostal church.
So
he was the one that introduced me to hip hop and music, and he's like, "These are my three favorites."
When did you realize you had a famous father?
At his funeral. When I was 6 years old, he got buried in Castle Hill, Ortiz funeral. It was like a 3-day wake. Was it like a 3-day wake? Yeah. And we were there, and there was thousands of people outside.
Wow.
And I go inside the funeral, and most of the people there, we don't know them. They're not fam. These are fans that are coming in. And I realized it when some dude came in. And I remember it vividly. He walked really quickly up to the casket, and he dropped to his knees, and he ripped his shirt off his back and just started wailing. And this person never met my dad before, and it made me, as a 6 years old, I was still trying to fathom the concept of death. But at that point, I was able to understand, like, wow, like what did my dad do to gauge this reaction from a stranger? You know what I mean? And then as I got a little bit older and older, I started to fathom it more and more. And I think around the age of 12, where I was already, because after a while, for a few years, I didn't listen to his music just because I didn't fully understand it, and it was hard. And then when I re-listened to it, was a verse. It was called Rhyme for Rhyme, Cormega and My Dad. It was that verse, and I actually shed a tear just hearing, because I finally understood everything he was saying, all the entendre, and I realized how great he was in that moment. You know what I'm saying? Like in that moment, I always knew he was, but in that moment, I realized how great he was. And then going back and remembering that dude ripping off his shirt, it made me realize, like, this is the impact that the level of greatness impacted me through his music, that strangers got to feel this way too.
It was the same for me too, not knowing.
Yeah.
I didn't know how big he was until it was a funeral.
Wow.
Because even though I went on tour with him and I was there every step and every interview and music videos, you're like when you're in it living, and this is my husband you see every day, I'm not understanding or know what the world or how the world sees him. You know I'm just focused on my kids.
Especially back then, where you're not seeing all the footage and the numbers, and you see 10 million views.
Yeah, social media wasn't like that. He didn't have Instagram. We didn't have Facebook. You know, it wasn't none of that stuff going on.
You only see what you see with your eyes.
So when the funeral came, and there was people driving from all over the United States, from LA, driving, and kids, and
it was like a parade. Like that, it looked like a moving parade. Like that many people was there.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and that I think that opened our eyes. Yeah.
Right now, if the people that are supposed to be his friends, do you have any contact with any of them?
There's no one that I have consistent contact with. I've had casual contact with Cuban, maybe but it's not like, I mean, I try to tell this to people often when you think about it logically. Like I was 6 when he died.
Got you.
My father's friends aren't going to keep extensive contact with a 6-year-old. That's how I.
You ain't 6 now.
Yeah, I'm not 6 now, and there's some people reach out, but it's weird because after this amount of time, if you're reaching out, it's not, even if it is a hey, how you doing, there's gonna, and not even to any fault of their own, I'm not saying it's malicious animosity, but there's gonna be an undertone of like, hey, can we do such and such, or can we do this, or can we make a record, or
so you're not interested in doing any records with
anybody? Nah, not at all, because I had to fight for years just so that when I go somewhere, and I'm not saying this for this interview, but when I go, I gauge my success sometimes based on how many questions about my father they ask me when I go somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Like, how much of this interview is going to be about me?
You
know what I'm saying?
And
because I've been doing music for over a decade.
Facts.
And I've established myself. And if you're still just talking about my father when you see me, then I haven't, you know. And I feel like doing records with people that he's done to even build even more into that whole of being somebody's son. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like as somebody, like I'm not just some, like we're all somebody's child. You know what I'm saying? But that's not.
I got John Blaze.
That's not the extent of my greatness, and I've established that. So to do things like that, I think it's just kind of pandering to that perspective that I'm trying to eradicate. You feel me?
And that's where I was going with it. I wanted to know how hard has it been, because that's why I brought him up in the beginning to bring it out. How hard has it been to get out of the shadow of a legend? It's
outrageous. Like it really is outrageous, because there's moments. It's not even, I wouldn't even mind it, like the comparisons, if it wasn't degrading or detrimental to my career in the context. Like if I wrote a verse and spat it to you, and it's a fire verse, if I was a regular person and I came to you and you had zero expectations of me, it would be a fire verse, but it may not be the best. It may not be better than the best thing you've ever heard from my father. Therefore, you're disappointed. Or you might hear me make a record. Like I came out with a song, came out with a video today. It's called In the Morning. That's one of the first I'm singing on it, doing different stuff. It's a dope record. It's poetic. It's beautiful. But it's like, oh well, he's not rapping about killing niggas and holding it down. Like it's this like they want me to be this thing, and that's difficult. And just getting out of that and being established in my own, because even it goes deeper into like just my own. I think it's bigger to me than to anybody else, obviously, because I'm going through it, but also growing up as a child of abuse and of seeing certain things. Like I for a lot of my life, I tried my hardest to not be my father. On a fundamental level. You know what I'm saying? Like the way he treated my mom, the way he treated us, the way he treated I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be a better father, I'm gonna be a better husband, I'm gonna be a better person, I'm gonna do all these things. So then when I start doing the thing that I love, and all I get is that you're this, it was not only holding me back career wise, but it was staggering me as a human.
Because you jumped in and out. You had jumped in and out of the music game sometimes.
Yeah,
sometimes you was just like,
I started when I was 8 years old in a group called 3 Down. It was Benzino's son and Lil James, and ironically, like at that point, like that was the most successful I've probably been in music. Like, because we had like a $1.2 million deal on the table.
And what was your name at the time?
My Baby Pun. But we also had an engine behind me. Like we had the label. What was it? Interscope. We were signed to Interscope, and we had like a 1.2 on the table. And I can't wait till I meet Eminem, because the beef with Eminem's one of my favorite rappers, and the beef between him and Benzino at that time. I don't know if you remember. Benzino and Eminem had beef at the time, and because we were children, there was a causality, whatever the contract, that we had the deal was dropped with us because of the beef and the prolonged problems. So that he's the reason why. But I'm grateful because they never released the group. Yeah, name, the so group. 3 Down can never go out anywhere because they they already gave down payment. They already signed. I did that for a bit, and I'm grateful that I got to grow up in poverty, because I think it gave me way more character than if I would had money back then. And then on top, so after that, I was just more so poetically inclined. Still wrote as a hobby, did things here and there. People. So
it was like in junior high school, when he was going to junior high school, he was just went to video games. He wasn't even writing. They didn't want to do anything. So I was like, you know what? I had a lot of people asking about him and wanting. And I said, let's back off from this.
Be a child.
You be a kid.
And I'll be rapping in the lunchroom. Like it's a hobby though. You know what I mean?
I said the name is always there. If you ever want to do it again, you pick it up one day.
And then it was right after high school. I've always been poetic.
He was dabbling a little bit.
Yeah, but during high school too, like when I was 14, 15, I would still put stuff out and do things, but it was like I decided, I'm like, let me finish high school, get my diploma, and then I'm going to really think about what I want to do with my life. And I saw a lot of my friends going to college, which is nothing wrong with college, and a lot of friends going to get 9 to 5s.
At least you went to high school.
I saw a lot of my friends doing that because they thought they were miserable, and they thought that there was just something they're supposed to do because that's the social norm. I'm like, damn, I don't want to follow the system and then be miserable. Like, what do I love? And though I didn't have a clear answer, the clearest one was music. So I went for it, and since then it's been 8 years, and since then I've been going nonstop.
Got you. So musically, shout out to Styles P.
Big time.
I always wonder why he gravitated towards you.
He's one of the realest people I've ever met in my life.
Well, I'm not. Yeah. Well, because you're nice, he gravitated towards you. But again, I would think that forget who your father is.
Right.
You're from New York City.
Yeah.
From the Bronx. Mm-hmm. You got the skill, you got the talent, you got the drive, you got the ambition. I always felt like more people should have been like, oh, nah, come over here. You could rap.
Yeah.
Why is it not like that in New York?
I think New York City specifically is one of the hardest places because it's so fast paced and everyone here, even people, the most ambitious people from other places come here. It's kind of like the pick of the litter. Yeah. So everyone here is trying to be successful, but only 1% of the people that want to be successful realize that someone else being successful doesn't take away from their success. Like the more successful you get doesn't mean I'm less successful. It doesn't hurt me. If anything, if I know you and you're more successful, then my group just got empowered. But people don't think like that. It's more dog eat dog.
Yeah,
so it's like
my light ain't gonna dim yours.
Yeah, but that's what they feel. So it's like I've even as an artist growing, I felt it, and even at shows you can see it in the Bible. It's like, yo, if you're not me or my man's, and sometimes my man, then you be, and there's no unity. You know what I'm saying? Like here, you go to other places. Like there's not one other, whether it's a city or state or even outside the country, where I went to Europe and I told you, there's not one other place that I went that I did not get more love than in New York. And I get love here, but it's like, yo, like and then plus it's the too cool. Like some people just don't want to show.
Ain't no
they think they want
to say I'm not no
rider. Yeah. It's like yo, like it's like, if you show love, you're a dick rider, and if you have constructive criticism, you're a hater. Yeah. So like, you know what I'm saying? So it's weird. Like and I think that is just like, it's just a norm here, and that's why when they say like, if you can make it, you can make it anywhere, and it's because a lot of people just don't. They think about themselves and in a very surface way, not realizing that if you thought about us, then you yourself could rise.
What keeps you going? Hey, make sure you subscribe to Doggie Diamonds No Filter podcast on iTunes. The link is in the description box. Also, leave a comment and rate the podcast. Thank you.